All right, everybody, welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us on this Wednesday evening, Wednesday afternoon, wherever you are. Rachel and I are so excited that you are on this call today, really to learn about this revolutionary phototherapy technology that we were introduced to about 7 months ago. I am Beth Blackmore, a health and empowerment coach, having gone through my own health journey over it'll be 6 years actually in March, when I started making significant changes with my food choices, my lifestyle habits, resulting in a 60-pound weight loss. And so little did I know that at that time, that was really the beginning of my conscious awakening. And so I ended up walking away from my government career in HR due to the unjust mandates and to pursue my passion in helping others finding their own inner power and really taking their health into their own hands. And so through this journey, I have been a dedicated learner, constantly unlearning and relearning, really being open to new information, embracing change. And so recently, I've been exploring this whole realm of quantum biology, thanks to Rachel. So circadian rhythm, harnessing the power of light. So I'm waking up with the sun, eating shortly after waking, and I feel that embracing the power of light is this next phase of my health journey and this constant evolution that I'm on. So when my friend and fellow coach Rachel showed interest in learning more about this phototherapy patch, I knew I had to take a closer look. So with her medical background, I knew Rachel would dive deep into the science behind the patch. So I invited Rachel on a call with my friend Diane Hunt, who's also on this Zoom today. We're going to hear her powerful testimonial a little later. And we were just basically blown away by the information you're about to hear about this technology, the company, Lifewave, the amazing testimonials, and also the amazing, exciting financial opportunity. So we signed up almost immediately. We put our first order in, and we did what any good daughter would do. We patched our moms. So my mom, who had been experiencing knee pain for years, noticed significant relief in just a few days. So her physiotherapist that she was seeing noticed an increase in mobility, less inflammation. She asked what she was doing differently, what she was taking. And the only thing that had changed was this light patch that her daughter put on her. Not only did her knee pain improve, she also started experiencing deeper sleep, more energy, more stamina. She was able to return to her favorite activities like walking, gardening, and swimming. For me, the benefits have been life-changing as well. I am finally sleeping through the night, having vivid dreams, which is unheard of for me. I used to have this lower back compression pain that I dealt with for years. And within a week of patching, my back pain was gone. My energy is up. My mental clarity has improved, which is helping me to keep up with everything on my plate as a new entrepreneur. But what fires me up is that I know that the best is yet to come. My body is healing and repairing and age reversing, as you will soon discover. There's also this incredibly exciting financial opportunity with the trajectory of this company. And so my coaching business actually is taking a little bit of a back seat. So more on that exciting opportunity a little bit later. So before we dive into the formal part of this program or this presentation, I would love Rachel, my friend and health practitioner, who is co-hosting with me today, to introduce herself and share her amazing journey with you.
Hi, everyone. I just want to also take the time to thank you for sharing your time with us, because I know that time is our most precious commodity. And so I know it's very valuable and means a lot to me that you are here right now. So as Beth mentioned, I was practicing as an anesthesiologist in Canada for close to 20 years before I left in 2021 for the personal decision about my health. I didn't think that I would be gone long. So I started doing some research because a lot of things were very confusing to me from what I had learned. And along that journey, I came across a neurosurgeon actually from one of Jason Christoph's email newsletters. And he was talking about something that interested me. And then I started to dive deeper, and he completely crumbled the entire foundation of everything I understood about health, which was distressing at the beginning, but became very exciting actually afterwards, because a lot of things that he was sharing was not anything I was taught in my medical school, my conventional medical school education, but it made sense. And in fact, a lot of the things that could be done to help put our bodies and our mind into this environment where we would work optimally had to do with very simple lifestyle practices. And it really boiled down to the top of the list being our light environment, which again was not something I was ever taught about. And our body works through, as we understand it, biochemistry and physical parts of our body. But upstream from that, the light is the signal for everything. The biochemistry, the physiology, for all of the functions, they all come from light. And so at the center of that, it signals to our mitochondria, which make our energy. And that is the difference between us being alive and being a corpse, is the energy that we make. And so my focus became targeting and healing my mitochondria. So my favorite tool was red light panels. As you can see, I'm still in red light right now because it's dark here. But I came across these patches, which I didn't understand at the beginning, kind of dismissed them, and they came back around again because of someone else. And then, as Beth said, I was introduced to Diane Hunt, and everything happens for a reason. Very timely, because my mom's health was taking a real nosedive, and Diane's background, I'm not going to say everything about it, but she will tell you later. She was a cardiac surgical nurse for 20 years. So I knew that she had a similar understanding and experience in the traditional medical system that I had. And she started sharing information with me about echocardiograms. And for those that don't know, just actual tests that we measure heart function, and people's heart function going from, for example, 15 to 20% up to 40, 50, 60% using these patches. And that's just not anything that I have seen in the 30 years I've been in medicine without any kind of artificial pump being put into the heart. And because I started to understand what these patches were, nothing is going into the body. It's using our own light, which we'll get into. It was a no-brainer to get my mom started on them if we could avoid having her go through surgery. And I'll share more of what happened with her towards the testimonial part of the presentation, just so we can get on with the show now. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Rachel. All right, so I'm sharing my screen and would just love a thumbs up if you can see. Okay, perfect. All right, so who is ready to learn how to activate your body's own healing with the power of the patch? Because this isn't just any patch. What makes this patch so unique is that it supports your body's natural healing ability by using your own light. So I do want to say at the outset that Lifewave products are not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, prevent any disease or medical condition. So this is not a medical device that actually requires FDA approval. This patch is actually FDA recognized as a general wellness product. And so everything that we'll be presenting tonight, everything that we'll be talking about, will focus on general wellness. So addressing symptoms and experiences rather than specific diseases. So, talking about those symptoms and what you may be feeling. Are you feeling older and frustrated that your mind, your body are not functioning like they once did? Does it feel like you've hit a wall and that it's all downhill from here? Maybe you have low energy, inflammation, mobility issues that are slowing you down, preventing you from living your best life. So now I want you to imagine what you could feel like if you could have more energy to do all the things that you need to do in life, all the things that you want to do on your bucket list. Imagine if you could think clearly, stay focused, and were more productive. Imagine if you could be more active, and not only that, but level up your physical game, build lean, strong muscles and bones, and recover faster after working out. How about enjoying a calmer, more relaxed state of being, better sleep where you wake up in the same position that you fell asleep in, like I'm doing now? And on top of all that, who wouldn't want to age gracefully? Regrow your hair, get your natural hair color back, have smoother, more youthful skin, maybe no longer needing your reading glasses like our friend Diane. Imagine if you could reverse the aging process. Well, did you know that by the age of 30, 60% of our healthy stem cells have already gone dormant? By 60, they decrease by 90%. So unfortunately, as we age, our stem cells decrease, they mutate, they go dormant. And this is what causes the wrinkles, the gray hair, the body aches, and slows down the healing process. And not only is the natural aging process contributing to our health decline, but unfortunately, modern lifestyle, that all contributes to our ill health with constant exposures to toxins, to chemicals in the food, in the air, in the water, and even man-made synthetic radiation from technology that's beaming on me right now. So over time, all of this leads to cellular breakdown, cellular dysfunction, making it harder for our bodies to repair and heal. So saying all this, stem cells are the body's healing and repair system, replacing the old damaged cells. So 7 months ago, I had no idea really what stem cells were, but they are these little baby cells that replace the old dying cells. They actually become your heart cells, your lung cells, your liver cells, your hair cells, and even your brain cells. And who doesn't need more brain cells these days? And sure, we know there's stem cell therapy, which is expensive, right? People need to travel to get it. It's not readily available. It's invasive, it's risky, and it's actually only about 50% effective. And it's not even systemic. It actually stays local to the injection site. So this is where stem cell regeneration becomes exciting and why the phototherapy patch is such a powerful option. So activating healing with light or phototherapy is nothing new. So it's been around since the dawn of time. We all know that the sun is a form of phototherapy, signaling our bodies to make vitamin D, right? But photobiomodulation, say that 10 times fast, this is a type of light therapy that uses specific wavelengths of light to stimulate cells, boost energy production, promotes healing. It reduces inflammation, it improves blood flow, and helps with tissue repair. And best of all, this is non-invasive, right? It's accessible, it's affordable, it's risk-free. So now what if I told you there was a product, one that uses this very technology of photobiomodulation? So basically using your own body heat, which is a type of infrared light, to increase a naturally occurring copper peptide. Well, that's exactly what the X39 patch does. So using our body's own infrared light, it stimulates the production of human. So this stimulates the production of our own GHKCU peptide. And this is known as the holy grail of age reversal. So it is not a synthetic peptide. These are your own. So the X39 patch, which happens to be inventor David Schmidt's 39th invention, it bumps up the production of GHKCU, which is naturally occurring. It's a universal copper peptide that goes to work all over the body. And so thanks to Laurent Picard, I've got his book right here. He's a PhD and researcher. We know the benefits of this incredible copper peptide. He isolated it back in 1973. And so there's 50 years of research to back it up. And you can actually find all kinds of studies on pubmed.gov, which is an online repository of scientific research. So some of the incredible benefits of GHKCU that we already know is it stimulates blood vessel and nerve outgrowth. So think regeneration. It boosts collagen and elastin. It also has multiple anti-inflammatory, anti-anxiety, anti-pain, and even anti-cancer properties. It's capable of resetting over 4,000 genes in our genome. So essentially resetting and repairing your DNA to a younger, healthier state. But here's the clincher. GHKCU reactivates dormant stem cells. So how does this little patch increase GHKCU? Well, now that you understand the power of the peptide, let me introduce you to the power of this patch. So X39 is a small wearable phototherapy patch about the size of a quarter. You can see it here on my wrist. Developed by David Schmidt, the founder of Lifewave. This is a patented product that operates through the process of photobiomodulation, so using our body's own heat. It activates this crystallized lattice, and this lattice structure that the patch is made out of, it's made out of organic materials. So amino acids, sugars, water, oxygen, and salt. And so what this crystal lattice does is it acts like a mirror. It reflects specific light frequencies back into the body, signaling these biological changes at the cellular level. So there is nothing in this patch that is absorbing into your body. These patches are latex free, non-transdermal. They contain no drugs, no chemicals, no stimulants. So they're safe to use without interfering with any medications. So there are no contraindications because nothing is being absorbed into your body, into your skin. So now I'm going to pass the mic over to our resident doctor and light expert, Rachel, to present the amazing benefits of X39.
Thank you, Beth. And I'm just going to pause here for a second and take you back to what Beth was talking about, phototherapy and photobiomodulation. Now, it's sometimes we don't think about, well, we don't think about the light environment that we are in, most of us, and we don't think about how light actually affects our body. And I just want everyone to understand that there are tangible ways that we actually can understand that this works. We know that when we go out in the sun and the sun hits our skin with the ultraviolet B light, that we make vitamin D. So it's not the sun making vitamin D. The sun is signaling to our body to make vitamin D. When we go out again in the sun and we get a tan or a burn, preferably a tan, but it is not that the sun is doing that. The sun is signaling to our body to produce this specific pigment, melanin, which creates the tan. As well, some people may have heard babies when they are born jaundice, when they have the yellow tinge to them, we use a type of phototherapy in the hospital or sunlight if it's there to help the baby get rid of the buildup of those chemicals. So the body really does run through the signaling of light. So the benefits of the X39 is that it reduces inflammation and pain. And so as Beth mentioned earlier, it resets over 4,000 genes and it upregulates anti-inflammatory genes and proteins. So that helps with reducing inflammation. And most of us here probably have heard before that inflammation is actually at the foundation of almost all chronic diseases. So reducing inflammation would be really beneficial for just about everybody. Improves strength, stamina, and energy levels. So that is one of the reasons that actually Olympic athletes and professional sports players are wearing them. And that was the way I sold it to my kids to get on board. Not literally sold it, but figuratively. Improve muscle and bone density. And again, muscle recovery as well. Improve mental clarity and reduces stress. And this is a big one, especially nowadays in the last 5 years or so, the stress has really become overwhelming for a lot of people. So this has really been beneficial. Balancing hormones and easing anxiety, improvements with hair growth and skin appearance. And so this is due to the increase in collagen that takes place. And most of us think about an increase in collagen when it comes to aesthetics, our skin, hair growth, nails, and yes, reducing wrinkles and maybe having younger looking skin. But it goes much deeper than that because collagen is actually the most abundant protein in the body. It's actually 70% of our proteins. And collagen is in all of our fascia. It's the infrastructure that holds our body and our organs together. And not only that, this is something that is going to also make sense in a little bit when I talk about how we use this, but collagen, actually the way it's formed, creates this superhighway of a water network in our body. And it basically allows communication to take place from one part of our body to another and between cells through this water network because light travels through this special water network in the body. So that is how light travels. So it's really important, this idea of collagen. It promotes cellular repair and wound healing. And this was one of the first things that was discovered with GHKCU back when Dr. Picard came upon it, is this rapid wound healing. And it improves sleep quality. And I'm just going to elaborate a little bit on this sleep quality because some of the things that I hear from people when I get feedback is, well, I don't really necessarily feel anything happening, but my sleep is better and my energy is better. And I just want to say here that sleep and energy are at the foundation of healing. because we need energy, first of all, to run all of the functions and processes in our body, but we need extra energy to actually heal and use that energy for healing. So that takes an extra amount of energy. Plus, we need the sleep time because that is when we do all of the repair and regeneration. So we need sleep and energy as the basis of our healing. As well, this Beth touched on earlier, this works systemically, not locally. So it's all over the body, and there is a 2,100% stem cell proliferation rate, meaning increase in numbers. So as far as long-term results go, in the first few days, 4,000 genes begin to reset. So what does that mean? I'm just going to give a little bit of context here. So in the early 2000s, there was something that was conducted called the Human Genome Project. And since we have about 140,000 to 160,000 proteins in our body, they figured they would find about 140 to 160,000 genes in our genome. But what they discovered was they found, and it depends where you find the information or read the information, around 20,000 genes. So that's where we actually now understand that there is something called epigenetics. It's not that every gene is a determinant of the protein. It is the environment that determines what you will produce. But think about 20,000 genes in our genome, and this patch with the GHKCU resetting over 4,000, that is a very significant proportion. One of those genes happens to be the P63. And again, a little more context. A lot of people on here might be familiar with a lot of information out there, maybe saying that red wine has benefits to our health. And I have a little bit of a different opinion now, but the big reason is because there is a chemical in there called resveratrol. And resveratrol is now packaged even as a supplement. You can go to your health food store and buy it. And there's a lot of hype over resveratrol. And the reason there is because it resets two genes in our genome. So we've got resveratrol, yeah, say that 10 times fast, resveratrol resetting two genes, and GHKCU resetting over 4,000 genes. Within 3 months, collagen is increased, and I touched on collagen before, and within 6 months, heart reverses in age. And so, as David Schmidt likes to say, this is not anti-aging, it's age reversal. So how do we wear this patch? This is one of the things that I love most about this. I mean, I love a lot of things, but I love most about this is because there are a lot of things that we can benefit from as far as lifestyle changes go, or even tools in our toolbox, like red light therapy. A lot of people ask about that one and the differences, which I can elaborate on later. But this patch really is so easy. It doesn't take any time out of your day. It does not require any effort. It doesn't require any focus. It's like a little sticker, as Beth showed, and I've got one on my wrist here as well. That's how small it is. You basically take the backing off, you stick it on your skin, and we can talk about placement after as well. You wear it for 12 hours, you take it off at night, and I put it on my dog's collar so she gets the benefit, because there's about 14 to 16 hours of activity, but you want to wear it for 12 hours a day. So 12 hours on, then you take it off, then you repeat that the next day, and you continue that depending on what you want as your goal. And so the minimum amount of time, really, it shows that 97% of people who wear the patch see an effect by 90 days. So you really have to give it a minimum of 90 days. Otherwise, you won't know whether you are going to see effects. But really, the recommendation is to wear it a month per decade that you're alive. So I'm 53, so that would mean 6 months. For me, however, I am choosing to wear this as a preventative measure. So I'm continuing to wear it because, especially because I've been listening to so many of the other Zooms, and everyone who wears it for longer just seems to get better and better results the longer they wear it. But really, the month per decade that you've been alive is the time frame that reactivates and you get the most reactivation of your dormant stem cells. So you can put it, I put it on my dog, but if once you've taken it off, you can also use it in plants. I don't know if there's anyone on here that's done that. I still have not done that, but my plants could probably benefit from it. Now, you want to drink plenty of water, and this is an important point. And I'm going to come back to what I talked about with collagen forming this water network in the body, and that's how light travels, and we have communication from cell to cell. So it's really critical that we stay hydrated, because that is how the light communicates. But just drinking water doesn't do it, because if you just drank water, plain water, you would actually pee most of it out. So you have to add electrolytes to make sure that you hold as much water as possible in the body as well as in the cell. So what I usually recommend, the cleanest way to do that is to add unrefined salt to your water rather than going out and buying electrolytes. But for example, my kids, don't like the taste of salt in the water. So if they get the powdered electrolytes, that's how they get their electrolytes. The other thing is that this effects happen through GHKCU, that copper peptide. That means copper, we have to have copper in the body to attach to this specific peptide. So you want to make sure that you are taking in copper-rich foods, and I just suggest foods before going to a supplement, but foods that are high in copper, if people can manage this, at the top of the list, it's organ meats, as well as oysters, and those are two that I normally can't really take. So seafood, shellfish, avocados for those who don't eat any meat, as well nuts, and those cashews are at the top of the list as far as nuts, sunflower seeds for seeds, as well as the bottom of the list, which is probably everyone's favorite, I would guess, is a little piece or a little square of dark chocolate. That's enough copper for the day. Next slide, please. Thanks. So what to expect? Now, this is also an interesting one, because everybody's different. Everyone has a different set of genes. They've lived in a different environment. They are alive a different number of years. They have a different toxic load. So everyone's body is different, and everyone is going to heal in different sequences of what needs healing in the body. So what I share with people is, again, this is something you might not feel something happening in your body. For example, myself personally, when I've taken any kind of supplements in the past, I have not felt one single thing. You can think of, and again, this is one of those things that for me is controversial as well. Vitamin D, if people take vitamin D supplements, they're not feeling the vitamin D going to work in their body. So sometimes people who use these patches, although there are one patch wonders where we will hear today, but most of the time, there's a lot of internal work going on that we aren't feeling. And you might be wanting to use this patch to address a specific issue. Maybe you've got headaches, or maybe you have gut issues, or you've got sleep issues, but your body has a wisdom, and your body's going to prioritize where the healing needs to take place first. So you might not necessarily feel the healing taking place. Just as an example, one of my mom's friends who wanted his headaches to go away was having some issues, and he was complaining that it wasn't working. However, after 2 months, he no longer needed his reading glasses. So clearly his body said they needed to go to work on his eyes first. If you're tired, that means it's working, at least in the first month or so, because again, as I talked about earlier, we need energy to function. We need energy for all of the processes that take place in our cells, but we need extra energy for healing. So your body is going to tell you to slow down because it needs to use the energy, whatever energy you have, for the healing process. So just honor that and allow that. And it is very normal. So you want to make sure you get that extra sleep, again, because sleep is when we do the repair and the regeneration. And you want to make sure you practice deep breathing as well, because that allows us to take in more oxygen. And the oxygen, where it ends up, is actually in the mitochondria, where it makes water, so that helps with hydration. but it also helps with energy production in the mitochondria. Next slide, please. All right, so here we have some real world results. And on the left-hand side, this is someone's hair where you can see in July 27th of last year, you can see that there is sort of sparse hair, at least compared to the middle one, which was November. And then we have January 18th of this year. And so within a 6-month period, you can actually see how much hair has grown. So I know there's a lot of people out there who would love more hair. Mine seems to be growing like wildfire. So it does happen. And you can see in the picture here, this on the right-hand side, this lady, this is really quite remarkable because this is only after 4 weeks of wearing the X39. This lady had a curvature of the back, which we term scoliosis. And you can see on the right-hand side that it has straightened out significantly. It also says, just to touch on the fact, it says Icewave, that she used the Icewave there. And that doesn't do any repair and regeneration. It's one of the other patches that David Schmidt devised before the X39, but that is for pain. So she was wearing that one for pain, but it doesn't do any regeneration. So that is the X39 that did this. So here we have some more images. On the left-hand side, this lady has what's called vitiligo, and that is where there is spots of depigmentation. So there's no pigment, there's no melanin in her skin. And you can see the splotches there, the splotchy kind of white part compared to the darker skin. It says here she tried everything to get rid of her vitiligo and nothing worked until she used the X39. So on the right-hand side, you can see there's a nice uniform pink color to her skin. So she doesn't have the splotchy areas where there's a lack of pigment. On the right-hand side here, we see, it might not be obvious to everyone, but that's actually a knee after a knee replacement. That's a surgical scar. And this is only after 2 days of wearing the patch. And that is really highly rapid wound healing. I've seen a lot in my career with surgeries, people coming in and out after surgery. And just as another example, I was listening to an ophthalmologist who's also a plastic surgeon talk about this, and he has every single one of his patients use the X39 about 3 weeks to a month preoperatively, and then again a month postoperatively. And he said the wound healing that takes place that he would normally see in 3 months, he sees take place in 3 weeks. So here we have what's called a topography map of a 77-year-old woman's brain. You don't have to know the details about this. I will explain that on the left-hand side with session 1, this woman was not wearing, she had not been wearing the X39 patch at all. So this was before any patching. And you can see that there's a lot of red in there, and red signifies inflammation. And the dark blue means low brain activity. And what we want to see is more light blue and green. And so session 2 is only 3 weeks after wearing the X39. You can see there's no more red, so there's no more inflammation in her brain. And you can see a little more of the light blue and the green coming in. And what that means is actually there is an increase in brain coherence. So what that means is the right side of the brain and the left side of the brain are communicating well. And we want communication within our brain, because then that communicates to the rest of the body what it needs to do. On the right-hand side, that is 6 weeks after wearing the X39. And again, there's still no red, so still no inflammation. And there's a lot more of that light blue and light green in there. So even more brain coherence. And again, that's only 6 weeks after being on the X39.
Thanks so much, Rachel. So we are going to move into some powerful testimonials of people that are on the call that we have patched in our lives. And I would love, I know I saw Diane here, she's co-host. I would love to introduce my sponsor and the person that introduced me to this amazing miracle phototherapy patch. So Diane, if you could unmute yourself and share your powerful testimonial.
Hello. Yes. Hello, everyone. So, like the lady said, I definitely was introduced to this patch 2 years ago. I think this is my anniversary today, 2 years ago. And I do not have the insight that Rachel has. I just knew I was praying for something. Like the lady said, I was a cardiac nurse for 20 years, right? In the OR, open heart surgery, and electrophysiology. So, how the heart works with the electrical conduction. And when I say miracles with this patch, what I've seen in the past 2 years, and I mean, the heart to me is what spoke to me because I've never seen any miracles when I was a nurse. It was another surgery, another pill. So when I have seen, like Rachel was saying, ejection fractions go up 20, 30, 40%, I knew I had a miracle in my hands and had to share it with the world. My testimony was what is it now? Like 3 years ago, I got sick with whatever we want to call it, right? And I just felt like after that, my lungs never fully recovered. So, like, I was somebody that would love to run, exercise. That was like to me something that was a must every day. And I could not even walk my dogs without getting winded. So, not only did I lose the quality of life, but then what was happening was my heart started having palpitations. So, as a cardiac nurse, and I don't live in fear, but hearing like what, you know, that illness was 3, 4 years ago could do to your heart and your lungs, I was like, what is going on? So I prayed. I was definitely a nurse in the medical world for 20 years, but I was also very holistic. So I had all the healing modalities. You name it, I had it. So I thought, but I never heard of this. And so praying and praying, one day it showed up in my inbox and I was like, what is this? I saw that it reverses the cardiac age by 8 years just by wearing it for 6 months. So that was the first, like, lured me in. And then the other one was seeing that it helps with inflammation and pain. I had a dad that was going through a lot too. So I went in all, got the big package. I have a family of 5. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to patch everybody. If this is natural and it just works on light, let's go. And I am one of the one patch wonders. Within 24 hours, and I felt it right away. I put it on the back of my neck. I could feel the tingling. I could feel something happening. I never had another palpitation. I was back at the gym, like Orange Theory. So if anybody knows, I know there's a lot of Canadians, I don't think, but it's like Tabata, it's like sprints and stuff like that. Like I got my life back. And then at the same time, and the one thing I just have to say about this is the systemic action, right? It works on everything. So I wish I only knew what it was going to work on. I had no idea. I just thought, let me get this and patch my family. But what I saw my dad, who was dealing with sciatic pain, plantar fasciitis, gout, he literally couldn't even walk. We had to help him out of a chair. He had a boot, a cane. He now plays racquetball with me every week. He beats me 3 games. He's at the gym 6 days a week. He says he feels 60. He's 81. What else? Oh, my husband stopped snoring. I used to have like spider veins, more gray hair, ladies, even in the eyebrows. So I don't have any of that anymore. Oh man, my list could go on, but I know we have to keep it short. But to me, the huge thing was just the miracles that I saw happening with my heart and lungs. And then just I say it's a magical inbox. Every day I get miracle after miracle of people saying what's happening to them. So but it can take time. So do not quit before your magic happens. My dad, it did take 4 months. So keep that in mind too.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Diane, for sharing that. I'd love to call on Mary, if you could unmute yourself and share your powerful testimonial. I think Mary's on the call. Yes.
Yep, here I am.
Perfect. Hi.
Hi. Well, Diane's, I haven't heard her story before, but it's very similar to mine with the sickness. I had overwhelming stress for a couple of years as well, caregiving and working and single mom and all of that. But I really went downhill with that sickness. I had pitting edema in my legs, really badly. Like I looked like I had congestive heart failure and heart palpitations, all of that. And I'm a massage there. Well, I guess technically I'm not supposed to say massage therapist in Ontario, but I've done massage for 15 years, trained in Florida. I've had a lifelong interest in holistic health, tried lots of stuff. I was detoxing for 2 years, parasite cleanses, everything. Nothing was helping more than just a tiny bit. And I was a one patch wonder. A friend had sent me up some X39s from Florida, and I had let them sit in my cupboard because I didn't really know anything about them and thought I couldn't afford them. And I put one on my neck, and it was literally like a light switch went off in my body. I felt it right away, and I felt my body instantly start healing. And do you have my pictures
I
to
do.
share on there?
I do.
Um,
I'm going to share those. Yes.
yeah. So I went from like my legs looking like I had congestive heart failure. In like 12 hours, 60% of that was gone. And then the other picture is about a month. I only had about 10 patches to work with over the month of December. I kind of spaced them out and didn't even wear them properly, but that's what my feet did in the space of about a month. And now that I've been wearing the patches daily, I joined up on January 3rd, and my order took a week to come in, and I've been patching ever since. I can sit in a full squat and get up without my knees hurting, which I haven't done for 15 years at least. I wrecked my knees playing varsity volleyball. And it's like all my joint pain has melted away. My back pain, I'm not even going to claim that. I was going to say I have got 75% disc degeneration in my low back, which it has given me problems, and I have to be careful, but it's like I don't even feel that anymore. And I believe that's regenerating for me. Sleeping is amazing. My energy level is like I'm scaling myself back a little bit because I feel like I have my life back, and I went a little too hard right at first. So I need to leave myself some energy to heal, but I truly feel like I have my life back because I was floundering for a couple of years, feeling very sick. So
Amazing. Thank you so much, Mary. Super powerful testimonial. Really appreciate you sharing tonight. I know it's the first time you sharing, so we appreciate that. And so grateful you're on the team. All
wow,
right.
thank you.
I'd love to share or have Andrea share your powerful testimonial.
Hi, thank you, Beth. Hi, everyone. My name's Andrea, and I'm an alcohol and drug counselor. And I'm going to share a little bit about my recovery because it relates to my testimony. So, I used methamphetamines for 12 years of my life, and I'm 16 years in recovery. I used to say I used caffeine for over 25 years, but it was just because I was too lazy to do the math. I actually used caffeine for 31 years. I never could let go of that stimulant. And so all of my years in recovery have always kind of that has always stuck with me, and my cross addictions would ebb and flow. So sugar addiction, shopping addiction, all those kinds of addictions, behavioral stuff, those are all what we call in the recovery space a cross addiction. So my cross addictions now are very, very manageable. I just happened to quit coffee on the day I started the patch. That was not planned. Dr. Rachel came onto my podcast and was sharing, and she had mentioned her mom's story, of course, and the patch. And she had told me about a book to read called Caffeine Blues. And I sure did read that book. And that's why with the timing, it was kind of like the same timing. So I had finished reading it, and I was ready. I was in the stage of change that I was ready to stop. So I had put the patch on, and I wouldn't have called myself a one patch wonder, but now I know that I was, because I was just thinking, oh man, I must have so much caffeine in my body that I'm not going to start withdrawal today. I guess I'm going to go through caffeine withdrawal tomorrow, because if you don't know about caffeine withdrawal, it's you got the blood rushing back to the brain, so you got really bad headaches and really low energy, lots of fatigue. And so I've always, I had quit certain times, and it was like the reason I kept drinking the coffee is because I was avoiding that withdrawal. I didn't want to go through it again. And then the second day went by, the third day went by, and I started realizing, oh man, I don't think the withdrawal symptoms are coming. This is awesome. And so the patch didn't, I wasn't feeling the withdrawal symptoms. Another thing I quit was on January 1st, I quit processed sugar. And also, if you've ever quit sugar, you know about the headaches and the fatigue and how it does not feel good. And that is one of the reasons why people hesitate to quit these things. And I also had nothing, no headaches, no withdrawal symptoms. So if you are someone who has always wanted to quit one of those two things, I would say make sure you're wearing the patches. The other thing I wanted to add is there are a few other things here. So I also no longer have period cramps. So my first 3 months of using the patch, I had 1 day of cramps, and I only had to take 2 Advil. Now, historically, since of the age of 16, I've had to take 3 or 4 Advil every 4 to 6 hours for 48 to 72 hours. So every month, I would take that much Advil in that short amount of days because my cramps were so intense. And my fourth month wearing the patches, none, no cramps at all. So that is something that has really brought my quality of life up huge, immensely. My eyesight has also improved by 0.25 diopters. I still wear glasses, but my eyesight is improving. My brain fog, clarity, all those good things are things I saw and felt quite early on and wearing the patches. Probably within 2 weeks, I noticed those things. And definitely my sleep has improved, and my energy, it has been very stable and actually quite higher than it ever has been. And that was using artificial stimulants to get energy, or so I thought, until I learned more about what I used to think was a safe stimulant. I now know on many, many levels that it isn't. So because of that energy, my last thing I want to say is I started working out, and like the true addict I am, 3 days a week isn't enough. 7 should be better, right? So one would think that I would be going through some muscle soreness. And historically, whenever I've quit exercising and then got back on the bandwagon of exercise, I have definitely gotten sore muscles. And I didn't really notice that I wasn't getting sore until I was in one of my classes, and one of the ladies who had took the class with me the day before was like, "Man, aren't you sore? I can't even walk today." And I was like, "No, I actually am not sore." And then it dawned on me, oh my gosh, the patches are allowing me to really recover, because I knew that was one of the benefits of the patches is the muscle recovery, like Dr. Rachel had mentioned. And there was one other thing I was going to say. Oh, I had a sore throat and used the patch protocol on my throat, and my sore throat, it was like the patches fast forwarded my sickness, because then the later half of the next day, I had a stuffy nose, which historically for me, when I have a sore throat that feels like how that sore throat felt, I would have a runny nose at the end of that, but usually that is like 3 or 4 days later. And it's like it got fast forwarded, because the next day I woke up and I didn't even have that runny nose. So yeah, this and I also originally, like Beth and Rachel, I got this for my mom. I wasn't really planning on healing anything. I was honestly was wearing it for vanity purposes, and I ended up getting a lot more benefit from it than what I originally thought, which was, oh, I'd love, nice hair, skin, and nails, blah blah blah. And have gotten so much more from it. And my mom is also has polymyalgia, and she has no more pain in her legs. And now she only has some pain in the upper body, and she's down to only one pill of her medication. So she's doing also really, really well. And she, like me, has been wearing the patches for a little over 4 months.
Amazing, super powerful. Check, 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 check. I could have used the patch, I think, when I withdrawed from caffeine and sugar a couple of years ago. Anyway, thank you so much for sharing, Andia. Super powerful. Appreciate you. I'd love to call on Anne Louise to share your testimonial tonight.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. I'll make it very quick. I originally purchased it for my dog because Rachel made a post about her dog. I have a very anxious dog and thought if it could work for him, why not work for me? And when I did my list of all the things that were on it, it's kind of funny because the one thing that I didn't put down, which has been a problem for me all my life, is sleep. So for 40 years, I basically have seen the clock every hour or 2 hours. So, but that's not my thing I wanted fixed. I wanted my IBS fixed. And so anyways, I bought the patch. Within the first week, I was getting 2 hours at one time, which is phenomenal for me. By the end of 5 weeks, I was getting 3-4 hour hunks, which became for me life-changing. I'm a recreation director at a seniors living. I have a very high energy life. I teach 9 fitness classes, spin classes a week. And I always told people I just exercise and that gives me my energy because I absolutely do not sleep. Since being on this patch for the last 8 weeks, I think my spin students hate it because my energy level is through the roof. So my classes have definitely picked up massive notches. But on week 5, all of a sudden, my stomach started to calm down. Now, when I say I have stomach problems, I have massive inflammation. I've been diagnosed with SIBO, leaky gut, IBS, like you name it. They couldn't do it, but it's been a problem for at least 30 years. I had frozen shoulders. I was in a cliff jumping accident when I was 13. So I was given Oxy as a child, and that was my painkiller. And I'm pretty sure that having Oxy all the time in my body affected my guts, which has affected every inflammation thing. So now that I'm sleeping, all of a sudden my stomach's calming down. My arthritis in my fingers is calming down. My frozen shoulder is just slowly one after another. And then the big coup this weekend is my husband, who's a bit of a cynic, who I've been paying out of pocket for osteopaths, naturopaths, all that for years. But he's always been a skeptic. And so he had blood work done in October and just got it redone in January. And we were comparing apples to apples. And so he had 3 flags in October that were for cholesterol and glucose. And he just had them done last week. Nothing, all gone. So he's now like, oh, maybe I am feeling better. I'm like, well, you're not snoring. So that's amazing. I know that doesn't benefit you, but it benefits me. So so it's been pretty amazing. Of course, I'm like you guys, I want my family, everybody I love, and I'm just seeing slowly, we're pretty new. I'm 8-9 weeks. I was definitely not a one patch wonder, but every week it gets exciting to see what happens next. So I'm in for the long haul.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. It is exciting. It's exciting every time we get on these calls and hear these powerful testimonials, because we're hearing new things all the time. And you're right, it's like a miracle inbox all the time. The more that you share it with people, the more you're going to hear about these amazing miracles. So thank you so much for sharing. Appreciate it. All right, Rachel, I am going to share my screen again. And I believe you are going to share all about the miracle man behind the patch, David Schmidt.
Sure. I might just update on my mom.
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing.
I will be
Yep.
quick because I
Sure.
know we want to get on with the presentation, but just to share, because I did start this because of my mom, but I wasn't going to have her just be the guinea pig. So I got on them as well, and my kids as well, for various reasons. But my mom, and again, we're talking about taking time to heal and everybody healing at a different timeline. I knew that it was probably going to take time. My mom has a lot of issues. There's a lot of repair that needs to take place, and we don't get sick overnight, despite most patients in the hospital thinking that's what happens. We don't. It takes decades to get sick. or to show symptoms. So it takes time to heal. So I was extremely surprised that after 2 weeks, so my mom has heart failure and she has trouble breathing, and we would go for walks almost daily. And it was painfully slow for me because I would be cold outside and want to walk faster. And, so it was very noticeable. Within 2 weeks, she was walking significantly faster and talking to me and even walking on an incline, which I literally had to stop her and point that out to her, which was unbelievable. Then she came to my house 3 weeks after starting the patches with some lab work that she was being followed for her heart, some markers. But they threw in a bunch of other lab work as well. And, this wasn't even something I was thinking about. For me, it was at the bottom of the list for her medical issues, but was her thyroid function tests. And she had some abnormalities. And I looked at them and I said, you go to your doctor, let him, you're going to be his patient, not mine, because you should never treat family members. But I wouldn't be surprised if he lowered your thyroid medication. And sure enough, he lowered her thyroid medication and has done it again. And I was just actually speaking with someone today on their podcast, and she was telling me, unfortunately, she couldn't be here, but she was telling me that was one thing that happened with her very quickly. It was within a few weeks, she lowered her thyroid medication as well. She had anxiety for, I don't know, 30 years of her life, and she just thought that was her personality. And she can't even bring back that feeling of anxiety anymore after being on the patches. But just a couple of things about myself, if people are wondering. So I am one of those people that I've always strived to prioritize my health, and did all the things that I thought were optimizing my health, and exercise and nutrition and so on. And I didn't really have much wrong with me, except for in 2020, I did get sick with, again, whatever that was. And my brain function went to probably about 50% of what it was before. I had trouble with memory recall, with word finding, with articulation, just being able to say anything. And it was really quite embarrassing for me and very frustrating. I tried a lot of different things, including intermittent fasting and ketosis, a lot of things that they talk about reducing inflammation in the brain. And it didn't really do very much, maybe like a little bit. But after about 9 weeks, just over 2 months of being on the patches, I felt a sudden kind of ability to focus. And I don't know if anybody feels this when you read a book, like sometimes when you read the same paragraph over and over and over, you read the words, but you don't know what's going on. You just have to keep going back again. That's what I was before. And now I could just focus and get through quickly a lot of the reading and stay on task. And again, memory recall, word finding, that stuff was coming back. So that was a really big deal for me. And a couple of other things that have just kind of shown up recently. And so I've been on them for 7 months now. And I mean, I started sharing before. I know a lot of people think they want to feel their own results first before they share. And I started sharing beforehand. I understood the science, but I also would just want to encourage people to understand that everyone responds differently. And even say it would take you, like Diane said, it took 4 months for her dad. So imagine if her dad waited all of those 4 months before he shared. There were all these other people that could have been helped in the meantime that he, I don't know if he did share with Diane, but I know that like right away before I even got the patches, I was sharing with a friend of mine who had sciatica she had sciatica for 5 years, and she was in excruciating pain all the time. None of the medications she was taking was helping, and in fact, harming her. And within 3 hours, her pain was gone. It's now 6 months later, it is still gone. My neighbors down the street, there's a couple, I'm not going to go into all of it, but he has 3 types of cancer, is on chemo, a whole bunch of things, a lot of problems. He was getting up 6 times in the night. He's down to getting up once in the night to go to the bathroom. He was sleeping 6 hours a night. He's now up to 8 or 9. He had no capacity for energy before, and they were quite active before his cancer. And he's now walking up and down the hills on the golf course. His wife is trying to like rein him in. He had what's called trigeminal neuralgia, which is, and the nickname is the suicide disease because it's so painful. It's in the distribution of the face that the wind would trigger it for him. Brushing his teeth would trigger it. So he would often go without brushing his teeth. And one of my walks, day 9 of them wearing the patches, that pain was gone. is gone. He was just beaming. He was so happy. And I think I got off track with myself, but little things that take place. I have, probably can't see now, but I have this little bump on between my eyes on my forehead. And I know everyone in person who's seen me kind of has asked me what on earth that is. And it just popped up a couple of years ago, and it's a little bone bump. And it was the size of a marble. And I tried all these holistic ways of getting rid of it because I didn't want anyone to cut it out. And now 7 months into the patches, it's the size of a pea. And the last thing that I'll share, and again, these are things, so a lot of people think, well, I don't have problems, but it's not even necessarily problems. You get so used to living a certain way, you don't think of them as problems or causing any issues in your life, but they are actually detracting from your health. So for myself, again, I'm 53. As a teenager, I used to swim a lot, and I'd walk around the pool in bare feet and got athlete's foot and would try all those powders to try to get rid of it. Didn't work. It ended up going into my nails. I was very embarrassed about my nails, my toenails. I was on topical antifungals, oral antifungals for years. Nothing got rid of it. So I would just really cut them as short as I could so that they weren't as visible. And the other day I was putting on my sock and the nail got caught. And so I took it off just to look to see, I was going to clip, what the loose part of the nail was. And I looked at my nails and they're back to like 60 to 70% like a normal looking nail. So, I mean, it might not be a big deal to people on this call, but when you think about it, there obviously was something going on in my body, right? And now that is supporting my body to be able to get rid of it. So, yeah. Thank you. And thank you everyone for your shares. Really, really great. Amazing.
And especially after all these years, Rachel, like you said you had suffered from that for so long.
Yeah.
But now it's healing along with other things that are going on, right? So that's why it's so powerful, because it's systemic. And I don't think we're used to that, right? Obviously in the medical field, like we go in and we want to get treated for one thing, right? And so maybe it's a pharmaceutical that or something, a surgery. But what is amazing about this phototherapy patch is that it works head to toe. Yeah, amazing. Marcia, give your hand raised. We're going to do questions at the end, but unless it's relevant now, we're just going to get back into the formal part of the presentation.
Yeah, I just want to talk about a testimonial for myself.
Sure. Yeah, go for it.
So I've been on the patch 24 days and I don't have I don't have joint pain or migraine. So I wasn't expecting changes, but you both mentioned, things can be subtle. So here's what I've noticed. I've taken pictures of my face every second day. And I've noticed that the wrinkles are starting to get smaller. So that's the first thing I noticed. Number two, we have eyebrows. This eyebrow on this side was shorter in length than this one. And now at the end, it's starting to fill in more. So I noticed that. And the third thing, on my right leg, I guess when you get older, sometimes you get these liver spots. So I have a liver spot on my leg and now it's half faded. So those are three things that I've noticed.
That's amazing. That's super quick. Marcia, you said 24 days.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Good for you. Awesome. All right. So I'm going to share the screen again and we're going to get back into the presentation. Rachel's going to tell us all about David Schmidt, the man behind this company, the patch. Here we go.
All right. Thank you, Beth. So this is, David Schmidt is half the reason I absolutely love this company as well. He is the inventor, the CEO, he's a scientist, and he is the heart and soul. And I really mean that. And not only that, he is brilliant. He's got over 150 patents and there are 80 clinical trials on these patches. The company is 20 years old and it's in over 80 countries. And so 20 years old, some people might think to themselves, well, why haven't I heard of this? And he intentionally, it wasn't intentional that he was going to market to the public initially. He was an independent contractor. He actually worked for the government with one of his contracts in the Navy SEALs creating emergency survival equipment for them. And that is where the first patch was born, the Energy Enhancer. So the Navy SEALs could be on their missions of 30 hours and below to whatever depths without needing to be on stimulants to be awake and alert and focused. And so what happened is 9/11 happened, and the government didn't want anything to do with anyone that wasn't part of the arms race. So through his networking and his connections, he ended up connecting with the four-time Olympic swim coach at Stanford, and they started patching the women's Stanford swim team. And 6 out of the 8 swimmers that they patched the very first day, they beat their own personal records. So they ended up using them in I believe it was the 2008 Olympics, and they had to call in the anti-doping team because they were just winning and beating everybody. And of course, they didn't find anything because there is nothing going into the body from the patches. From that time, he decided to turn his attention to going into researching stem cells and longevity. And so it took him, I believe it was 10 or 12 years and $4.5 million before the X39 was born and released. And that was in 2019. And that is what took the company from grossing 20 million a year to over 600 million this past year in 2024. And the estimates are over $1 billion for 2025. Next slide, please. And so for those who like to do their own research, which I always encourage, there is a website here that is written down, and we can put the link in the chat after as well. It's called thisisitinfo.com, and it has got the patent. So there is a 22-page patent. We are 4 years into a 20-year patent. So what that means is this is proprietary, and there is nothing out there on the market like this. It's not a Me Too product. It's not just another supplement, another juice, another shake. There's nothing on the market like it. You might have heard, because we keep hearing things from other people about other patches on the market. The other patches do not do what these patches do. The X39 is the only one on the market that increases GHKCU, which increases stem cell activity, among a bunch of other things. So the 22-page patent is there for you to read, but really it all boils down to this one paragraph that's on the left-hand side, which reads the embodiments as results of elevating copper peptide, including activation of stem cells, energy improvements, and elevation of antioxidants. Now, along with this patent on the website, there are also the research studies that were conducted, as well as testimonials, which they're listed from A to Z, and there is a ton of them on there. As well, this is for anybody and everybody. You don't have to have a background in any kind of science. So there's videos, short ones, explaining what phototherapy is, how these patches are phototherapy, as well as other videos with Dr. David Schmidt, so you can hear him speak, as well as doctors explaining some of the science and answering questions about these patches.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rachel. So everyone, it's important to remember that the benefits of this patch and this company go far beyond the surface, because maybe that means returning to a job that you had to quit because you were in pain. Or perhaps it's being able to not only return to an active lifestyle, but level up your physical game, adding muscle gains, setting new goals, or maybe it's achieving financial freedom. Because as we've said, this company is gaining massive momentum, and it's actually the #1 momentum company in the industry of direct sales. So that just simply sharing with others can allow you to live a life with more ease, whether it's paying for your patches, covering an extra bill, or living abundantly. This is all available to you. This is all possible with the power of this patch. So let me share with you how you can start. So Lifewave offers 3 simple enrollment options. You can choose the path that best suits your needs. These prices are in US dollars. And so for a month's worth of patches, there's 30 patches in a month's worth. We call it a sleeve. It's like a little envelope. And so first you can enroll as a retail customer, where you simply place your order. You pay the retail price. We see practitioners in the States often set themselves up like this, offering this to their patients. However, if you would like to benefit from the wholesale pricing of $99 US, you have two additional options. You can sign up as a preferred customer or as a brand partner. And as a brand partner, not only do you unlock the wholesale pricing, but you also secure a spot on the team and can leverage the incredible momentum this company is experiencing by building a business without additional cost. There's no overhead. It's just the cost of your patches. And so what we often see is that people begin to experience success with the patches. They naturally share them with others, and they end up building a business, and sometimes even on a full-time basis. We actually have many people on our team, including Rachel and I, that saw the opportunity right away, and we are definitely building some successful businesses here. So signing up as a brand partner, there's actually no additional investment. As I said, there's no commitment. There's actually no pressure, to share or to even build a business. And so there are several enrollment kits available. And so the more that you purchase upon signing up, the better the value. That way you can start sharing them with family and friends in your life, your aging parents, loan them out to other people as they wait for their order. It's always great to have extra sleeves on hand. And so then you're setting yourself up for success right out of the gate. And so our team, the This Is It team, is part of the fastest growing team in the company. We just participated in a virtual event a couple of weeks ago. It is exciting where this company is going, what their projections are for 2025 and onwards. Again, no experience in or training in sales or network marketing is required. And what is super exciting, I know Rachel has touched on it, like there's no other company that comes close to offering what this product does. So there's nothing like it on the market. It's not a Me Too product. And so not only does it address people's health goals, but it also can address their financial goals with a generous compensation plan. So at this time, I do encourage you to reach out to the person that invited you on the call. They can guide you through the ordering process, set you up with the best package and pricing available, and walk you through the incredible opportunity at Lifewave. I would love to open it up for questions, but I first do want to thank you for taking the time out of your day, out of your evening to join the call and being open to learning about this unconventional healing modality. So I'm just going to unshare my screen and see if there's any questions that may have come up in the chat that maybe we haven't addressed yet. But I encourage you, if you want to ask any questions, feel free to put your hand up or unmute. We'd love to take your questions. Rachel, I don't know if you saw anything that's outstanding in the chat that maybe we hadn't addressed.
There was just one thing that maybe to clarify. Therese, I don't know if I'm saying that properly, was asking about seeing one of the ladies who was talking about a disc problem. I'm not sure if you want to clarify that. Is it Therese?
Yes, it's Therese. Yes, no, I was just curious to say it would be lovely if, like, say I have some disc issues, so to have a scan prior and then to like exactly how it was healed. Like one of the lady that had shared that she had major disc issues and that she's now perfectly fine. Like I said, like to actually physically see the
Scans.
Thank you.
Yeah, just on that note as well, David Schmidt in one of his podcast interviews shares that he patched his dad who was set to have surgery on his back for degenerative discs and a slip disc, and after 3 months of wearing the patch, did not go for surgery. It had regenerated. So, and I know again another podcast was talked about a study that was done with women it was a group of women, I don't remember how many, but they had all set surgery dates for having knee replacements because they had bone on bone. And because you can never, well, unless you pay an arm and a leg really to have surgery the next day, usually you're waiting for the surgical date. And they decided to use these women as an experiment and use the patches. And none of them went for surgery because they all regrew their cartilage. So just so you know, in medical school, we're taught you can't regrow your cartilage, but we can, with all of the understanding now with the research, you can regenerate you can regenerate anything.
And Cynthia just wrote in the comment, waiting for hip surgery, bone on bone, inflammation, arthritic, any hope? Yes, there is hope. Definitely. Yeah, there's many testimonials of people that are, so Rachel just brought up a great example, but there's a lot of stories of people no longer requiring surgery, coming off their medications. So it is healing at the root, which is super exciting. That's what it's doing. And that's why we're so excited about it.
And I think that reminds me, one question that maybe somebody might be thinking though, and we get a lot is, so what happens, how long do we have to wear these patches for? And what happens when we stop wearing them? You know, it's like is it like a medication? You have high blood pressure, you're taking medication for high blood pressure, you stop it, and then suddenly your blood pressure goes back to being high again because you were just taking away the signal there. But with the patches, when you stop, whatever has healed has healed. So it's not going to suddenly revert back to what it was before you started the patches. However, you will just start the aging process again at the same rate that it was happening before, if you're living the same lifestyle, if you've changed your lifestyle. And again, this is a tool, it's not a replacement for a healthy lifestyle. So the aging process is dependent on the lifestyle. You know, that will depend on how quickly things start to resume again as far as the aging process.
Rachel, I have a question. So there's been some allusion or some indication of that it helps on the emotional scale, specifically around anxiety. What about emotions like maybe grief, sadness, depression? Do you have any input on that?
Well, I've heard a lot of stories myself personally, and I know Beth has a friend as well. But just to let you know, there was one woman recently. So I shared this with her brother, someone that I knew, and he said, "Oh, I think, you know, my wife and my kids and my sister, my mom, everyone, you know, wants to know about this." And so his sister started, and so she's been in contact with me. She's got all over body pain. That was the reason she started on the patches. And then a few weeks in, she sends me a text message and she said, "Rachel, you know, I didn't share this with you, but I have gone through life I've gotten used to the fact that I'm just not happy. I'm just not happy. I don't experience joy. I never feel any positive emotions." And she said, "I was just driving the other day, and for no reason whatsoever, I just had glimpses of this happy feeling that came up." And she said it was very bizarre because she hadn't experienced it before, or she can't remember back to maybe when she was a child she had. And then she sent me text a week later and she said, "This is absolutely incredible." She said, "I am now feeling happy during the day." She said, "For no reason. There's absolutely no reason. Nothing has changed." She said, "I'm just starting to feel that happiness come back in to my life." So, you know, that's just one of a recent personal experience that I've had with someone.
Thank
And I
you.
know Beth can share.
Yeah, I'll just share too. So because my mom had such incredible benefits with her knee pain diminishing, I shared it with a friend of mine. She was actually one of my clients in a group coaching environment. So I didn't know kind of her whole history or her whole state of being, but I knew that she was experiencing really frustrating knee pain and wasn't able to do her exercise. And she loves exercising. And so I said, "Well, this worked so well on my mom, you should try it." And so she tried it for her knee. And then within, I think it was 2 weeks later, it wasn't the knee pain that had diminished yet. It was this feeling of a weight had been lifted off her shoulders and her anxiety and depression had lifted. I didn't know this about her. She didn't even know her mental state was actually that bad. And she just broke down. She couldn't believe that she had this amazing feeling from using this patch. And then it was the knee pain that dissipated after that. So definitely helping. I know there's comments about ADHD and depression and anxiety, and definitely we have seen this, you know, with other testimonials, but also in our own life with people that we've patched.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
There's also been, I just want to add to that.
Yeah.
They say it even helps aggression. And I've had a few people that I've personally enrolled, men, that said they don't feel road rage. They don't feel the need to like get aggressive on the road. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Awesome. Thanks, Diane. Deb, you have a question.
Hi there. So
Hi.
I'm very encouraged to hear about cartilage regeneration. I have no cartilage. It was all removed due to sport injuries. And I have had a few sessions where I've had PRP, platelet regeneration plasma, put into my knees. And I have seen improvement, but I'm thinking if you add the patch on top of that, I'm guessing would it increase in the how quickly, like would it just add to the regeneration, do you think, of that?
Well, that's what I mean. The patch is there to regenerate and support your body in regenerating and repairing whatever needs repair. So it is going to support that. I mean, I know in the PRP is something that is a procedure that is invasive, right? And so whenever there's some kind of intervention, there's always a potential for risk, complications, and all that kind of stuff. So, everyone's got their own, desires and choices. And I personally, if I had an opportunity to use something that was non-invasive and use my own body's mechanisms, again, I know that I have a very skewed view, like Diane being in the operating room and seeing all of the complications that take place. We're people that want to avoid any of that. So that's just where I go.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I was at the point where I was searching for everything and anything that I could avoid knee surgery or knee replacement of any type. I am the type where I'm always physically active on purpose to make sure that the rest of my body is holding me up without, trying to get the quads good and hams good and everything like that to support the knees. But, it was just getting to the point where it just wasn't enough. So the only other thing I could think of doing was the PRP at the time. Yeah, the injections aren't fun, but okay. And what about placement of the patches?
That's a great question. And I think I said that I was going to get to that, and then I didn't get to that. So the research that was done, David Schmidt, because when you do research, you have to have reproducible methods and they have to follow a certain guidelines. And so he chose 2 acupressure points, one below C7 on the back of the neck, below the little bump that sticks out there, as well as the other one below the belly button. So those are the 2 spots where the research was done. However, it is systemic. So literally, as long as it's on your body somewhere, it's going to go to work. Some people, you can experiment with yourself, and some people might find, for example, putting the X39 on a point of pain might actually feel better. But again, every body is different. And so, where I find it feels better, it might be different for you. So it's, everyone is an N of one. And so it's really about experimentation. As long as it is on the body, it doesn't work when it's in the package. So it has to be on the body.
What about, is it waterproof or if you're in the water?
Yeah, I've been in the ocean. I do cold baths. I shower, lakes, surfing. It's not come off me ever. Some people have said that it's come off. Like if you're sweating and your skin is kind of oily and greasy, and then you try to put it on, it might be an issue. But again, actually having said that, for people who have sensitive skin, or if they have a reaction or sensitivity to adhesives, you can actually just stick the patch on the inside of clothing or on the inside of a hat or something, as long as it's close to your body, because it's heat activated and it's infrared heat, which penetrates about 10 centimeters. It still works. So with kids, if they don't like something on their skin, you can just stick it on the inside of their shirt, their underwear, and it still works.
Great, thank you.
Welcome.
And that actually, yeah, that's also an important point, because if you are transporting it to share with somebody else, it's important that you actually don't have it in your pocket or in your purse where the heat could activate it. So you just want to make sure when you're transporting it, because it doesn't actually have to be on the skin. I think that that's just a convenience factor, that it's made with the medical grade tape and that we stick it to our skin so that we can wear it all day no matter what our activities are. But it doesn't actually have to, it doesn't work just because it's stuck on the skin. Yeah. I just wanted to address Molly's question in the chat. So, and I don't know if I can answer this, and I know Andy is not here and she left and she may not have been able to answer it, but maybe Diane or Rachel. So are there any cases of healing for people with extreme SSRI withdrawal symptoms that anyone's aware of? So, so coming off, I'm assuming SSRIs.
So I know someone personally who has been able to reduce them significantly. She's just at the last little point of getting off of them, and she had been on them for probably over 40 years. I don't know if you have any extra testimonials, Diane, that you have.
No, I don't personally know anybody that's come off completely. I definitely know the dosage has been lowered and lowered. And I also know so many, right, veterans are using this for PTSD and all that. So there's a huge community that are feeling the effects for depression and stuff like that. So
Now, on that note, that just reminded me, and I just want to jump in here because I think it's an important point to make, and that is, I know two people personally, and I know Diane and I heard the same story when we were together from this gentleman and his wife, but we know two people personally who have had adverse effects from the experimental therapy from the last 4 years that has completely taken their lives away from them. Had it reversed, they've got their lives back. And not only that, I know one of them here who's in my town who is in his late 60s says he feels 30 years younger, and he was very athletic before and completely taken out. I'm not going to go into all the details, but the other one that both Diane and I had heard was a young man, 41, who was in the military. So you have to be fit, right? You're constantly getting physicals and making sure you're fit for to be in the military. He was 2 years from retirement and didn't want to give that up. And then he was injured to the point where he had to be honorably discharged, ended up with his heart function decreasing, a thoracic aortic aneurysm, which is a ballooning of the big artery that supplies the rest of the body with all of the blood, and pain to the point where he couldn't even get through the night and just went to the emergency department getting drug after drug, which of course didn't help. Now, when we saw him, all of his pain is gone. His heart is better. He still has the aneurysm. It hasn't grown, but he's got his life back, and it's from these patches.
Amazing. Yes, actually. And so one of Larry, he has been on this Zoom call before. So if you're looking for those powerful testimonials, we can find them for you. He shared his powerful testimonial a couple of weeks ago, a number of times actually. Okay, I'm going to go to Eva. You have your hand up if you want to unmute yourself and share and ask your question. Is it working? Oh, there we go.
Okay. Well, first, I want to thank you because I do have this cognitive decline and stuff, and I thought this was mainly for physical things. So I just want to thank you, and I'm very excited about trying it. So, but the other thing, I wonder what happens to after 12 hours, because apparently it can be used on plants, it can be used for animals. So is it 50% effective after that, or how does that work?
It's just that the body, we want the body to have a break so that the actual patch, there's still life left in the patch for about 16, 18 hours in total. And so that's why you can put it on your pet, put it on your plants, put it on your children, like the next day. So you're not keeping them up potentially, right? So you're keeping that off to the side until you can patch them in the morning. But we want to make sure that the body has a break of 12 hours,
Okay.
just because what could happen is this attenuation where the body is no longer responding to the light frequencies. And so we just want to make sure the body gets a good break, and then you put it back on 12 hours later, and then it starts up again. So that's the reason for the 12 hours on, 12 hours off.
Okay, so the patch is still effective for how many
Yeah,
hours?
I think it's 16 or 18 hours, Rachel, is
Altogether.
that correct? Right.
And then the material actually starts to degrade after, I think it's 36 to 48 hours.
Okay, so somebody else, after you're using it 12 hours, somebody else could use it for a few hours, but not during sleep?
Well, sometimes it gives people energy, and so we wouldn't want to keep them up, and they also want to keep hydrated. I think that's another important factor why we wear it during the day too, to keep hydrated. So lots of water and good quality sea salt. So
Okay.
yeah.
It does. I have had some people come back to me despite sharing when to wear the patch and say, you know, like, my husband's got insomnia, he can't sleep. And I said, okay, when are you taking the patches off? And they said, oh, well, he's sleeping with them on.
Oh.
So I said, yeah, well.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? So, but if you get up 6 in the morning, you wear it 6 to 6, somebody else could wear it from then till about 10 or something. I'm just wondering, but I guess it's better to have it on for 12 hours.
Yeah, it will. I mean, it will just be very slow to work. I mean, I have heard of some people kind of doing that kind of thing, but you're just not going to get the full activation and full activity, as well as the timing of the regeneration is going to happen a lot slower.
Right. Yeah, it just seemed like to be able to use it for something, because it's still valuable. So it's good to know it's good for plants or animals, or, you know, I like that idea a lot. So thank you for the presentation. It was very helpful, because I do have these issues with the brain, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it works. Thank you.
Welcome. And I don't know if Anne Louise is still on, but what she mentioned about using it, her initial desire to use it was because of her dog. And she told me, she didn't mention about her dog, but she said her dog was so anxious about getting in the car, like just a crazy anxious dog. And it was only after a short period of time that, using the patch on the collar, like I do with my dog, she said he totally calmed down, to the point where her 2 girls who go away to university, who came home, and they were like, what is wrong with, I don't remember the name of the dog, but what's wrong with him? Like, he's not his normal self. And she's like, yeah, it's the patches, because he completely calmed down.
Adriana has had her hand up for a
Yeah.
while.
Hi, Adriana.
Hi there, how are y'all? Thanks for
Great.
having
Nice to see
me.
you.
I'm tuned in a little bit late. Sorry about that. Time zone always gets me, but I have somebody that has had a stroke, and they have high blood pressure, cholesterol issues, and I believe they're diabetic as well. Do we have any testimonials for any of that?
Yes, I can hook you up.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, that's actually that's a great question, a good segue, because there is a Facebook group that people can be invited to, whether they're customers, whether they're brand partners, whether they're part of the company or not. It's called Patching with Purpose. And so once you're on that Facebook group, you can actually search for different testimonials. All it is people's testimonials about what they've experienced. And so many times we're on there trying to find, some different ailments, or, I get that we want to shy away from the diagnosis, the labels. However, if it's people's personal testimonials and they were labeled or diagnosed with something, and then after patching, they no longer experience those symptoms. Anyway, so there are amazing testimonials in that Facebook group if anyone's wanting to tap into that, but also reach out to the person that invited you on the call, and they can definitely set you up with, so I'm just talking in general, right? Because we can find some really powerful testimonial videos, different posts in Facebook that we have access to, and maybe even our own personal, people that we've patched. So yes, Adrienne, I can hook you up. Any other questions from where anyone would like to ask their question in here? I'm just going through the chat to see if there was anything.
And maybe address the, just so everyone can see this or hear this, about negative side effects reported. And so Diane answered there, but what happens is sometimes people, when they have healing take place faster than usual, or even if someone's going through detoxing. Although again, because we don't realize that it's actually healing within weeks to months is very quick. That is a quick time frame for healing. So you can imagine, for example, if you were renovating a house, you have to kind of take out all of the old stuff before you're going to put anything new down, and you're going to have a bunch of debris and all this kind of extra dust and garbage kicked up. So that's kind of like what happens in our body when we do the healing. We got to get rid of all the old stuff. And sometimes some of the chemicals that are kicked up make us feel not very good. And we think that things might be getting worse, but it's actually our body's getting rid of the old stuff. So we're actually cleaning things out. So it's a positive sign that this is actually working. What we recommend usually is, again, like Diane had said, make sure to drink water, make sure to rest. And sometimes you can reduce the amount of time that you wear the patches from 12 hours down to, say, 6 hours or 8 hours in one day, and see if that feels better, and do that for a few days and then work up back to that 12 hours over time, just because everyone responds differently and has different sensitivity. And so, yeah, I would just count yourselves, in a sense, lucky you're getting that healing done quickly.
Okay, I think, so Cynthia, I'm just wondering, your question on maintenance, how many patches would you use in a month? So I don't know if Diane answered that question, because I'm just thinking my interpretation of it is, if you're wanting to be on a maintenance kind of regiment with the X39, are you asking how many you would use? Like, I mean, I would suggest you use them, every day. So the 12 hours on, 12 hours off, and the 30 patches, like the full month's worth. But so I don't know if anyone recommends like a maintenance where you're not using that X39 as often or as much. I mean, obviously I think that that's a personal choice, but you won't be getting the benefits, I would say. But again, I think it all depends on what your goals are in terms of your healing, in terms of prevention, in terms of, age reversing, and just, because I know Diane, over the year and a half that she's been using these patches, it just is getting better and better and better. So no more eye float. Like, I'm not sure, I don't even know if you said all of your powerful testimonials today. I'm like, no more eye floaters, no more dry eyes,
Left out like
no more
probably
gray
half
hair.
of them.
Yeah, I
The
know.
clock was ticking.
Yeah, the pressure was on.
So
Yeah.
many. And so I even just see somebody asking about blood sugars. And so and I know this sounds crazy, but I have to say it works on everything. I mean, I have a
Yeah.
testimony for what I believe is everything, and many testimonies. Just at the event last week, Rachel, I saw the guy that we interviewed by the food trucks,
Yeah.
who looks amazing, who had a crazy stroke, and Rachel heard his story, a really low ejection fraction, and now he's like a new man. But he said he was taking throughout the day 5 doses of insulin, and now maybe 1 if needed, but that's it. So much, and that's for his blood sugar, just so we're clear. So yes.
And that he also had full left-sided paralysis that recovered.
Yes.
Amazing. Adriana, you're back in the hot seat. If you want to unmute.
I think hers never went away.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Maybe Deb. Looks
Yeah,
like
Deb.
Hi there, quick question. So I'm just wondering, what about people who have challenges and symptoms around that?
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. We have, there's powerful testimonials of people that we have met in our own life. So, yeah, Rachel has an amazing testimonial of someone she patched and amazing results. Like, so when she was talking about the gentleman that was really, really fit, and then took the experimental shot, that's what she was referring to. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And then also the serviceman or the military guy that, was forced to get it. And so that was his story as well. So he's made an amazing transformation as well. And
Perfect.
we have videos of those too. So yeah,
Sweet.
yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Okay, and Jess, is Jess still on? Because I don't think we didn't address her question. But I can reach out to her if she's not on. Oh, she's there. Okay. So has anyone had experience with seizures? I believe, oh, so she's talking about a young boy, I think, diagnosed with a gene mutation, thinking about the boy who has had them since he was a baby.
I think
Seizures.
we were talking about that, our group, and we've got a testimonial. on it.
Okay. Okay, great.
Not necessarily a personal one, but we do have one.
Okay, awesome. Jess, I'll reach out to you. Any other questions in the chat that I have missed? And while I'm looking, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to put your hand up or unmute. Oh, financial benefits. Yeah, we have plenty of those as well. Comp plan. Okay, Jay. Yeah, you're in good hands with Jay. Awesome. Any other questions? This has been a great call. Thank you for all your engagement and questions.
Yeah, thank you everyone for staying on and your interest. Yeah, curiosity, and it truly is a remarkable technology, like nothing I've seen in 30 years of medical practice.
You're welcome. Oh, Cynthia, the delivery charge. Okay, so I don't know if you're in Canada or the US. I know offhand for Canada Post, it's usually around $7.50 US for Canada Post. So then you do the exchange on that. You're in Canada. Okay. And then there's also a UPS option, which is almost double, I think, but I find UPS has been slower. So by default, I think Canada Post is probably your best bet. And so we do have a warehouse. So we're in 82 countries around the world, and every one of those countries has their own warehouse where the product is distributed out of. And so I think it's in Brantford, near Toronto. And so you're not paying for duty. So it is a delivery charge for Canada Post, but it's coming from around the Toronto area. And so typically, it takes like from order and then processing and shipping, it's probably 5 to 7 business days, I would say, on average, sometimes earlier.
On the East Coast.
Oh, is it slower over there? Out there? Okay, good to know.
A little more expensive, not much, but
right.
Canada Post is like $12 and UPS is $18 US.
Oh, wow. Really? That's good to know. All right.
And if I could just add before we all sign off,
Yeah.
amazing for kids too. So every age, like I just want to say my kids are in sports, concussions, like recovery. Just the other day, one of the dancers in my daughter's class hurt her neck and couldn't perform. And that night I went, patched her up, and she did amazing. So, I mean, just think everything. That's one thing I just want to leave everybody with.
Agreed. Yes.
Awesome. So Deb asked, I'm in BC, Deb.
Okay, yeah. I'm in Saskatchewan, so it might get here quicker. Yeah. Okay, thanks.
All right. You're welcome, Helen. Thanks, everyone. Oh, Eva, yeah. Do you have another question?
Yeah, I'm looking at the website to find out the different, like the Facebook page, to find out the different areas that people are talking about, but I can't seem to find anything. And so I'm looking at patching with purpose. There's 4 different ones, but I don't see anything. So, but I'm really interested in that.
Okay.
I think it's nice to be invited because there are different ones actually called patching with purpose. So it has to be the right one.
Yeah, I know. I picked the one that has over 2,000. There was one with 4, one with 30 some odd. Yeah, I think I got the right one, but I don't see anything about looking for different issues.
Oh, you can, so it's the magnet, like, are you in though? Are you into that group
I'm
already?
in Facebook, Patching with Purpose LW seems to be the one because it's 2.4 thousand followers.
No, it's actually 8.5K and it has, so 8.5 thousand. Do you see that? And it's got probably about 6 different photos at the top.
No, I don't see that. Is it called Patching with Purpose?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm looking at. I don't see that.
Who invited you to the call?
Marcia.
I think
Marcia.
Marcia.
Okay. Well, we can help Marcia invite you.
Okay, all right.
For sure.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
I just want to say to Diane that I'm also on Facebook looking for it. And I see the one that Eva's looking at, Patching with Purpose LW 2.4. I don't see the one that you're talking about. So can you invite me, Diane?
Yes. Are we friends, Marcia? Let me see.
I just invited you, Marcia.
You did? Okay.
Oh, okay, great.
All right, everybody.
There's a group on Telegram. I had heard,
Oh, yeah.
might be, but I don't know of any group.
I don't either.
On Telegram. I don't know if you know Diane's, because someone said they might be able to say things a little more.
Yeah. And I heard that too, but I have to max out at a certain point. I can't have all these different channels. So I believe there is too, but if somebody does want that, I can definitely look into that. If somebody lets their leader know they want the Telegram, I'll find out anyway, just so we have that answer moving forward.
Thank you.
I would like to maybe propose, so in 15 minutes, there is a call for those that are interested in a business opportunity call. So this is our upline, who is doing the call tonight at 9 o'clock. And you know, if this is something that you are interested in terms of, you know, leveraging this amazing financial opportunity, leveraging this team, this would be a great call for you to jump on. If you're wanting to know more about the opportunity, the compensation plan, the business, the people, this incredible team. So should I just put the link in here?
9 o'clock Eastern. So
9 o'clock Eastern. Yeah. So in 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, in 10 minutes.
Yeah. So you can get a quick bite and join that.
And there's a lot of money on the table. It's open to everybody for this next week for sure. So
yeah, like there's another incentive bonus that's going on in addition to the generous compensation plan that's just started. Okay, so how can do we have a link that I can easily share in here? Let me see. There is. I just have to find it.
See if I could get mine. Hold on, let's see if I can.
Oh, I've got it. Okay.
You have it?
I do.
Okay.
So I'm just going to copy and paste it. And I'll paste it in the chat here.
That was a good callback.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought, why not? All right, so it's just this. This is it. So it's workwithchampions.com and the passcode is WIN, lowercase WIN. All right, so maybe we'll see you over there. And again, I encourage you to reach out to the person that invited you on the call. They can, you know, obviously share more information with you, get you hooked up with some powerful testimonials, get you signed up, and then we'll see you on the team calls. All right, everybody, have a great evening. Thanks for joining. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, ladies.